Before you apply a finish, it's important to remove all of the sanding dust that was just created in the last step that's buried deep in the wood fibers. Put the spray nozzle for the air hose on and blast out all of the sanding dust from all parts of the project. Once the dust is removed, you're going to apply a finish. A finish could be polyacrylic, which is a water-based coating, polyurethane, an oil-based coating, or several other types of oil or waxes could be used as well. In this case, we're using a water-based water cleanup polyacrylic. This is similar to a liquid plastic coating. After several layers of this polyacrylic, it's going to improve the water resistance, moisture resistance, dirt resistance of the project, as well as give it a nice sheen and feel for years to come. When you're applying that polyacrylic, it's important to only put as much in the brush as you need. You're going to re-dip that brush frequently, but you don't want to apply too much of that polyacrylic at a time. Excess material in the brush increases your chances of drips, runs, bubbles, and all of which are hard to remove. For the top and the bottom pieces of the clock, hold on to the plug as a handle and coat all of the other surfaces. Bottom, sides, edges, chamfers, everything except the plugs. If the plugs absorb any moisture, they may expand and no longer fit into the body of the clock. This poly finish does dry to the touch within about 5 minutes, but while it's still wet, be careful not to touch that wet coat, or you may leave a permanent fingerprint. Notice that my brush strokes are always going in the same direction as the grain. This hides those brush strokes in the grain pattern. Once you've applied a thin coat, just look back over the project to see if you spot any drips or runs. Coat the top piece in the same way. For the body, put your hand in the middle and apply a thin coat to the front, back, left, and right sides. When finished, come over to the sink and wash your brush. Squeeze out all that clear coat until the water runs clear, then squeeze all the water out. Dry it with a paper towel so that the brush is dry, and return it to the cup. You may notice that after your first coat of finish, your project doesn't feel as smooth as it did before you applied that finish. The wood has absorbed that finish and the small wood fibers have been raised. Use a piece of fine grit sandpaper to bring that project back to a smooth finish. Make sure that you're sanding with the direction of the grain, and you don't want to sand for too long of a time. You don't want to remove all of that clear coat that you applied. You just want to bring it back to smooth. The container of finish will always tell you how many coats are recommended. With polyacrylic, we are going to be applying 3 coats on 3 different days. It's important to remove that sanding dust prior to recoating. Brush on finish to the project in all areas that you did with the first coat.